Michael? Well, it's often said that actions speak louder than words, and this is the premise of something called neurosemantics. It's a psychological model which involves transforming thoughts into action, so people actually do achieve their goals. The founder of neurosemantics, American psychologist Michael Hall, is in New Zealand to pass on these techniques. He joins me now along with Colin Cox, who is a master trainer in the discipline, formerly New Zealand's strongest man. And good morning to you both.
Good morning.
We better explain first, neurosemantics. I saw you sort of nodding as I was reading that intro. I was obviously on the right track, but explain to me exactly how it works.
Well, it is the performance of meaning. So the things in our minds, can we perform them? Can we translate them out through our neurology so that we actually do them in action? And then the actions we do, are they meaningful?
Is it as simple as the power of positive thought? I believe I can do something, therefore I can.
Yes and no.
There's more to it than that. Explain,
more.
What more is there to it?
Well, the positive thought depends upon whether it's realistic, for one thing.
Right.
Whether it's realistic, whether I have the skill and the competency, I've been trained to be able to perform it. So it's belief in self, but it's also the ability to know the strategy and what we're doing so that we can actually make that performance.
Okay, give me an example. Colin, give me an example. Say someone wants to stop smoking. Is that a valid case study? How would that work?
So they'll stop when it means something, truly means at the very core of them, when it means enough, and that's the term semantics. When you've got enough meaning, you'll absolutely do what you know. Until then, you'll know things and not do it. When it becomes meaningful, full of meaning, then I'm going to do it with complete passion, commitment and determination. When the semantics are lower, there's no meaning or it's meaningless, then I'm not going to stop.
Some people will say this is psychobabble. What is your response to that? You obviously both, I mean, Michael, you founded this discipline, and Colin, you're the only master trainer in the world. You obviously believe so strongly in it.
Sure.
So what do you say to sceptics?
Well, it's based upon the cognitive behavioral sciences and the neurosciences of how we know neurology works, brain works, and the transfer from thought to action. Most of us can put our hands on a typewriter and our fingers know things.
Right.
Where's X? Oh, where's J? How does the fingers know that? Because those are thoughts, and now they're transformed into performance. And if the performance is smooth and elegant, and we don't have to even think about it. So the meaning of how to type, how a keyboard works, is now in the fingers, and we can just make that performance go on to the next level.
Okay, so this is taking brain development past that sort of thing that we understand. So as you said with the typing, we learn how to type, and it becomes almost second nature.
Exactly.
So stopping smoking, for example, could become second nature. How would someone go through that process?
Well, basically the way that they started is that they repeated the performance of cigarette smoking over time, and it got in their body. Beyond just the nicotine addiction, it's a habitual thing. So the way that they think has become habitual in their body, and what we need to do is reverse that whole role, where we change the way that we think, and we literally get that into our body, and we change the way we behave in the world. And it's that connection. How do you do that?
So with smoking, it's really interesting. We smoke for some meaning. It means being social. It means being a somebody. It means being assertive. It means standing against the crowd. So it means something, and until that meaning changes, a person will have a difficult time stop smoking.
Colin, let's talk to you about your past, your background, because obviously you were New Zealand's strongest man 3 years in a row, and then you had a downfall. How did this discipline help you pull yourself out of that?
Well, it's certainly one of those things that I wish I knew what I know now, way back in '96, when I fell from grace, etc. So what happened there is that I started working with youth at risk and long-term unemployed, and found that the way to change a person, to bring about transformational change in their lives, is to get in their heads.
Right.
And to help them readjust, that people aren't broken at all. It's just the way we think. And if we change the way that we think and then make that into actions in the world, we literally can transform ourselves.
So it can be used at quite a simple level, I guess.
Absolutely.
Tell me some of the examples of the people you're working with then.
Well, I do everything from coaching and delivering training from a CEO level right through to the average Joe Blow as such on the street. treat is how do they actually transform their lives. I think we always know things, but we don't do them. So how do we narrow that gap between what I know and what I do? We know that we shouldn't do some things, but we still do them. And that's where this field of neurosemantics is really able to close that gap.
Is it something that you have to embrace wholeheartedly, or can you sort of pick out parts of your life that you want to change and focus on those?
Oh, definitely.
Now, just tell me quickly, you're here to do some training. You're the only master trainer in the world, Colin, and what will the training involve? Who will it involve?
The people who have come to this training come from 13 different countries, from, I think, 4 of the continents, and they are becoming trainers. We have 190 trainers in 37 countries, and these trainers that are in this particular training here in New Zealand will be going back to 13 different countries to start institutes.
You've got a busy time ahead of you. Thank you very much for joining us, Colin Coxon and Dr. Michael Hall, the founder of Neurosemantics.